If you feel like you are working really, really hard on your business, but you still don't have clients, it's not your fault. You have been taught to focus on the wrong things, and those things absolutely do not guarantee that you get clients. And the longer you stay in that cycle, the longer your business is going to stay stuck. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly why being busy is the problem. And I'm going to show you what you need to do instead to get clients. See, I see this all the time with Christian women entrepreneurs, right? So we are working on our websites, we are building new programs or products, we are tweaking our logo and posting in all the social media sites. Somebody told us that we needed to be on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We have to be everywhere so that we attract people to our business. We are spending money learning from the gurus. We are buying more programs and trying more and more things just so that we can figure this out. But here's the thing, all of that is busy work, and busy work is not the same as productivity. I want you to understand something. It is not your work ethic. You have all the experience, all of the things that you need to do in order to be successful in this business. You've proven yourself over and over again. So it absolutely has nothing to do with your work ethic. What it really boils down to is your lack of clarity. And so there's three things that I think we need to focus on. And the first is who. Who do you serve? The second is what. What do you offer? And the third is, where do you show up? And I'm going to break this down for you because these three things are so important. It's what I call my AOP framework. And just bear with me for a minute. A is audience. So the audience is who you serve, really understanding who they are, what their behaviors are, what their needs are. When they go to bed at night, what keeps them up, right? What is that hair on fire problem that they really need solved? So your audience, you get really, really specific about who the audience is. It's not just everybody, first off, because if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one. And it's not just men, because what kind of man? It's not just women, right? It's not just teenagers. It's you get really, really specific about what problem you're solving for whom. And so really identifying who that person is. For example, I help Christian women entrepreneurs, not just entrepreneurs, not just women, and not just all Christians. So very, very clear about who your target audience is. And you want to be clear because when they hear your offer and it's targeted specifically to them, they could raise their hand and they say, that's me. Right? So who exactly do you serve? I want you to just think about that for a moment, maybe jot it down. Who exactly is your target audience? You want to go below the niche and get very, very, very specific. And so when you know who your audience is, you can make a connection. And then the next thing is the what. The what is your offer. That's the O in the model. And so your offer is really addressing a need. You understand what their problems are because you thoroughly researched and did all your homework, so you really understand who your audience is. And now you have created this offer. And what that offer is something that you're good at. So knowledge, skills, and abilities, experiences, things that you've overcome. So your unique ability to solve that hair on fire problem. So the thing here is that you're unique. And so nobody else is going to do it the way that you're doing it. And so you find the offer by marrying your unique ability to solve that hair on fire problem. So that's your offer. And what you're really doing there is promising transformation. You're taking them from point A to point B, and it's your offer that's going to get them to where they need to be. And then the P in the AOP model is platform, right? So where are they? You need to understand, because you've done your research, where your audience is showing up on a regular basis. And I know that people are like, be everywhere. You want to make sure you post 2 times in LinkedIn, and make sure you do at least 1 video a week, and make sure that you are on TikTok. It's a lot. And so what happens is you spread yourself so thin that you burn out. And what you really want is to identify the platform where your target audience is, and then you keep showing up in that place and you keep speaking to their specific need, and that's how you gain momentum. So one thing I want to share about this model is that I want you to think about it as 3 overlapping circles, right? So the first circle is the audience, the second circle is the offer, and the third circle is the platform. So when you have these 3 overlapping circles, what you will find is there is the gap, right? If you have your audience figured out and you have your offer figured out, then what ends up happening is that you don't have your platform figured out, and then you're invisible. So you know who your audience is and you know what you have to offer them, but you don't know where to show up, and so nobody even knows you exist. If you have your offer figured out and your platform figured out, but you don't know who your audience is, you're out here with this great offer and you are yelling into the void because you're making all of this noise and the people who need to hear you aren't there. So it's just chaos and it's just noise to the people who don't need you. If you have your platform figured out and you have your audience figured out, this right here is interesting because you are in the right place because your platform is there and you have the right audience, right? So there should be alignment there. But what happens is you don't have a good offer. So here you are missing something. You're misaligned. There's a hidden value. So you need to figure out what your offer is in that case. Now, when all 3 of those things come together, when you know your right audience and you have the great offer and you're solving that hair on fire problem and you're in the right place, sharing what you can do to create that transformation, what ends up happening is your business is in flow. And that's where we want to get you to. Most people go wrong because they try to be everywhere, doing anything for anyone. After all, when you're first starting off, what you're really craving is that first sale. So if somebody says they want to buy something from you that isn't necessarily your offer, you might be willing to sell it to them. And so we end up being generic, and that's how we stay busy and not paid because we're all over the place. And so I want you to keep it really, really simple. I want you to pick one of each, one audience, not everyone. If you sell to everyone, you sell to no one. So pick one and get really, really, really specific with that one audience. And the second thing I want you to do is to pick just one offer. What is that burning need that they have? What is that hair on fire? If their hair is on fire that they have to run to the sink to get rescued. Where is that problem? Find out what that problem is and create your offer to address that need and show them how they can get transformation by working with you. And then finally, pick one platform. I know this goes against what everybody else is saying, that you got to be everywhere and you got to show up and you got to buy the ads and you got to do all the things. But if you find out where your target audience is and you dominate and you own that space and you show up regularly and consistently and they start to get to know you, then you'll start to see momentum there. So one audience, one offer, and one platform. I want you to commit to that for 30 days, right? And in that 30-day period, I want that to be your test period. What is happening? Is it working? Do you need to tweak something? Do you need to change something? And what works, you keep. What doesn't work, you let it go. And then what you're keeping, I want you to try that for another 30 days, right? And during this next 30-day period, I want you to refine. Continue to look at what works and do more and more of what works. And then I want you to do it for another 30-day period, right? And so at the end of 90 days, what ends up happening is you have so much data about what works, what doesn't work. You're tracking where you are performing and what's not working for you. And at the end of a 90-day period, you will have a really good idea about what works for your target audience, how your offer is landing, and how this platform really supports what you're doing. So I want you to understand what you do not need is more learning. You don't need a new website. You definitely don't need a business card. I don't know when was the last time I actually handed out a business card. You don't need a new logo, and you don't need any more shiny objects. What you really need is data. What you really need are real interactions with real customers. What you really need is to understand who your audience is. And what you really, really need is to start having conversations with your audience so that you can start to get feedback. Okay, so if you are unclear about anything, whether it's your audience, your offer, your platform, I have this free diagnostic tool that I want to share with you. It's just 12 questions. It takes about 3 minutes to complete. And at the end, you get this report that will tell you exactly where you are on the client path. And then if you click the link, you'll get a downloaded report that will show you not only where you are on the client path, but it will also give you some suggestions about what you need to work on so that you can move forward. And it will also be sent to your email. So go ahead and scan that QR code, download the diagnostic, and if you need to talk to me, I'm always available to talk with you.